Macky Sall has dissolved the government and replaced the Prime Minister, naming Siddiqui Kaba to the post. And that move comes just after the country's Constitutional Council rejected a proposal to hold the presidential election on June 2nd as unconstitutional. Now, the council ruled that a vote must be held before President Macky Sall's mandate ends in April. You might recall mass protests erupted last month when Sall postponed the election. The opposition has been accusing him of trying to extend his time in power. He's not allowed to run for office again. Now, Sall has denied those accusations, saying he took the decision because of controversy over candidates who were barred from standing in those elections by the courts. Well, let's speak to our correspondent, Nicholas Hack. He joins us now from the Senegalese capital, Dakar. Nick, let's unpack this a little, because a lot's happened in the last couple of hours, including, I see just in the last few minutes, a possible new election date being declared. Where are we at now?
Well, that's right. The president's spokesperson has announced a new election date that will be announced through a decree of March 24th, and that would be just before the end of President Macky Sall's mandate that ends on April 2nd. This announcement made just minutes after the decision, the rejection by the Constitutional Council to hold an election after President Macky Sall's mandate. Now, the council made several reasons for this decision, effectively saying that President Macky Sall's decision to, first of all, delay the elections that were supposed to take place on February 25th was in breach of the Constitution, and that an election cannot take place after the end of his mandate, and that his mandate cannot be extended any further. So, Macky Sall taking this decision, also dissolving the government, allowing for his Prime Minister, Amadou Ba, who is also the ruling party candidate, to focus on a campaign that will take place during the holy month of Ramadan.
That's very interesting. Nick, what kind of reaction are you seeing there? There have obviously been protests in the streets before, and obviously lots of concern by other countries who've watched what's been happening in Senegal with great concern.
Well, first of all, there's a sigh of relief for many Senegalese who finally have a date on when they will be able to have a say on who the next president will be. There's been a month time between the moment that he announced a delay in the election and an announcement of a new date, a month of unprecedented uncertainty for the Senegalese people. There's also reassurance for the international community that President Macky Sall will stick to the rule of law and stick to the decisions taken by the Constitutional Council, the decisions taken in the interest not of the president, but perhaps of the Constitution and of the country itself. So this is also significant for members of civil society who have taken to the streets through peaceful demonstrations to have a new date of an election that they want to take place as soon as possible. So now, many more questions ahead on how this election will take place, because there were elements of controversy among the list of candidates. Absent in the list of candidates is, of course, the popular jailed opposition figure Ousmane Sonko and the head of the PDS, which is one of the largest political party, Karim Wade, who's currently in exile in Doha. Now, they will not be able to take part in an election that's going to take place in just this month, in a campaign that will be shortened in time. Nastasia?
It's interesting that you say that, because obviously these previous issues, which was why Macky Sall said he was postponing the election, they obviously haven't been resolved. What are you likely to hear then from the opposition? What have we been hearing in the lead up to this decision?
Well, Nastasia, as we speak, the National Assembly and MPs are gathering to discuss a bill of amnesty that was suggested by President Macky Sall for all those that have been arrested during the political unrest from March 2021 to February 2024. And while this amnesty bill, you would have thought, would have united people and appeased the crisis, what we see on the floor of the National Assembly in the Parliament, where we were just hours earlier, is a divided country where politicians are arguing against this amnesty bill because 60 people were killed during these protests. Some of them accuse the security forces of torture. An amnesty bill would allow a level of impunity, according to rights group, of those that have perpetrated those crimes. Also crimes committed against businesses, against gas stations or supermarkets that were attacked. So, by taking this decision at this key moment where we're seeing politicians divided, Macky Sall again trying to comfort the country, but also the region at large, that he is going to protect democracy in this country and that there will be an election held on March 24th before his mandate that ends on April 2nd. Nastasia?
Nick, you talk about Macky Sall wanting to comfort the country, comfort other regional powers. Given the decisions that he's made, given the election delays, and given all the controversies so far, how's he regarded now as a man, as a president? What kind of a legacy is he leaving?
Well, that's exactly the issue at hand. It's the type of legacy that he wants to keep. And remember, he came in power in 2012 amidst a crisis when the former president Abdoulaye Wade wanted to extend his time in power. And he's a man that has managed several crises during his mandate, from the Ebola outbreak, the COVID outbreak, the fallout of the Russia-Ukraine crisis, and now, at the end of his mandate, this crisis over trust in the electoral process, but most importantly, trust in his ability to unite the country and his ability to try to rebuild that trust in the institution, the democratic institutions, because the final years of his mandate has been marked by police repression, according to rights group, but also the imprisonment of several opposition figures, from Karim Wade, the son of the former president, to the former mayor of Dakar, Khalifa Sall, and most recently last year, Ousmane Sonko, who is still currently in jail. Now, if there is a law, an amnesty voted through the parliament, this could pave way to the liberation of hundreds of political detainees, including perhaps Ousmane Sonko. Nastasia?
Well, an incredibly important night there in the Senegalese capital, Dakar. Nicholas Hack on the ground for us with all the latest. Thank you very much, Nick.